So far tonight, we've heard about breaking bread, teaching, and prayer. So now we're going to look at the practice of fellowship. I'm sure this is a word that we've all heard before in some capacity or other, like in Fellowship of Christian Athletes or Fellowship of the Ring, perhaps. But I want to define what fellowship meant to the earliest Christians in the book of Acts, how it was demonstrated by the church in the book of Hebrews, and suggest how we can engage in fellowship today. Let's look at each verse in Acts 2:44 through 47 to learn more about the lives of the first Christians. Verse 44, all the believers were together and had everything in common. This verse sets the stage for what fellowship looks like: being together, being in community in a physical space and spending time together. Next, they had everything in common. I want to make it clear that they did not share the exact same beliefs or backgrounds or even ideas about how the church should be run. There are many examples of disagreements between faithful believers in the book of Acts. The next verse clarifies what it actually meant to have everything in common. Verse 45, they sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. What they had in common were their belongings. They went so far as to sell what they had to give to anyone who had need, not only those who were just like them. Verse 46, every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. In this verse, we see that they met regularly in a central meeting place. Everyone would have known where the temple was, and the temple courts were a public place where anyone could come. At this point, they weren't hiding, but they were in a place where anyone could see them and join them. And further, they ate together, not grudgingly or in a rush between other more important or more spiritual things, but with glad and sincere hearts. They were happy to be together. Let's continue to verse 47. Praising God and enjoying the favor of all of the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. The Christians praised God publicly. As I said before, they weren't hiding. And this was because, at least at this point, they found favor with the people. Not just some of the people, but all of the people. So why do we think they found this favor? Because they welcomed everyone, gave to whomever had need, and were good to each other. So what happened? God continued growing their community. To summarize, the fellowship of the early church entailed being together, sharing what they had, meeting regularly, eating together, and praising God. All of this led to them finding favor with the people and to God increasing their numbers. Later in the New Testament, we see that fellowship remains an important part of Christian practice, which of course is true today. Hebrews 10:24 through 25 says this, and let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Consider how to provoke or to spur one another on to love and good deeds. The author invites readers, and therefore us, to consider this, and then he tells them how to do so. We can lead one another towards love and good deeds through not neglecting meeting together and through encouraging one another. I chose to read this verse from the NRSV because I believe this translation gets at the truth behind that verse. If we don't share fellowship with one another, we are neglecting something essential. We must meet together. We don't know when Jesus is coming back, and Jeff Walling prays that Jesus will come back almost in every prayer. But until then, we need to keep meeting together. The early church understood the importance of fellowship. The church in Hebrews needed this reminder as some were neglecting communal gatherings. We need this reminder. I need this reminder. So would you consider committing to this? To meet together and to encourage each other? Tonight, we actually have an opportunity to practice breaking bread together and spending more time together in community, which is what we're about to do.